Like people of other ethnicity, the Chinese immigrated to the United States for better lives. Before 1900, the work included farming, mining, and building railroads. Men sent money home to their families in China. Stiff immigration laws were passed, and many Chinese immigrants were forced to prove they had a husband or father who had a U.S. citizen or be deported. From 1910 to 1940, Chinese immigrants were detained and interrogated at Angel Island Immigration Station in San Francisco Bay. U.S. officials hoped to deport as many as possible by asking absurd questions about Chinese villages and family histories that immigrants would have trouble answering themselves.
So I'm going to be interrogated today. I'm going to ask some simple questions about your citizenship. So your first question is, what is your name?
Gaman.
Does your house in China have two outside doors? Who lives in the opposite side of the small door?
Mr. Chen is a farmer, has a wife.
Can you describe her?
Miss Chen, housekeeper.
Did that man ever have any children? How many?
2,
How old is he?
30 years old.
Who lives in the first row?
Mr. Fu, a farmer, has a wife.
How many houses in your row?
2,
When was the last time you had sexual intercourse with your husband?
day before coming.
What is your plans being admitted into the U.S.?
Keep house, raise children.
Immigrants were detained weeks, months, sometimes even years.
So what are some cultural differences that you noticed?
The difference is for us, every day we have to go work, come home, we have to cook, we take care of the kids, this and that. And weekend we have to do the house cleaning, washing the clothes, cooking, all those stuff, right? Taking care of the kids, but for the more like a man, they just go work and come home. That's it.
Yeah.
But for the woman, they have to do
Do all
everything.
these housework.
Yeah. And then the kids don't have nothing to do.
How has American culture influenced Asian American culture? Say that.
I guess.
Saying because you're growing up here in America as opposed to growing up in China, how has the American culture affected the Asian culture?
I guess they're like less strict here.
That's your.
Yeah, I grew up with without my parents pushing me with school stuff. Like I don't have to study or anything, so and I can really do anything I want.
So there's nothing more tiger mom, you say.
Yeah.
So do you have any cultural barriers that prevent you from communicating to your relatives?
Yes. My grandma only speaks Japanese, and I don't know Japanese, so it's hard to communicate with her. I just kind of smile and nod.
Okay. Can you name 5 holidays?
5 holidays: Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Independence Day, New Year's.
Okay. Can you name 5 cultural holidays, say,
Nope.
for Japanese? None?
Nope.
Okay. How do you learn about your heritage? From school, your parents? What kind of influence?
Definitely from my parents. I actually went to Chinese school for 10 years, so I did that since I was in kindergarten. So that definitely helped a lot. Also just going back to Taiwan itself and just actually meeting my grandma, my cousins, my aunts and uncles, and then telling me about their stories and their lives, their lifestyle in Taiwan and stuff like that.
So, do you think there are any cultural barriers that prevent you from talking to your relatives? No?
A little. I mean, just because even though I did learn Chinese here, it's very different. I'm not fluent. I mean, I can get by, but when you're actually thrown into Taiwan, it's completely different. So So sometimes I don't really know all the words compared to like what they're saying.
Yeah, because that gets broken up.
Yeah, it's like I'm a beginner and then they're like up here. So, so there is some sort of barrier. Like especially talking to my cousins, like the only way I can really communicate with them is because they learn English. So they can kind of try to figure out what I'm trying to say, and they get it from that. But when it comes to my aunts and uncles or my grandma, because she always speaks like the dialect of Taiwanese, so I have to look to my parents to translate to me. Yeah, so there's some cultural barriers there.
So, do you think growing up in America, this kind of influence or this effect on your Taiwanese heritage?
Definitely. I think we have much like an open perspective here compared to like back there. Like back there, I don't know, this is kind of random, but like example would be they really like white skin over there, and then when I go there, I'm like super tan, and then they totally know I'm American. It's like there are differences here and there. Yeah.
So, do you think the future generation will be completely assimilated into American society because they are here?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be really difficult because for me, I feel that without my parents there, I feel like my kids are going to have a tough time having like those Taiwanese roots because like I feel like my Chinese isn't that great, so I feel really bad trying to like teach my kids. Like I would just rather them hang out with their grandparents and learn that way just because I don't know everything. So I mean, definitely they'll be assimilated into the American culture, but it'd just be really hard to get in touch with like the Taiwanese roots. Yeah.
We do to raise awareness with the younger generation about culture.
I don't know. I guess just try to encourage parents to pass down the traditions.
Would you send them to school, set up a program, how would you try to?
I guess programs would help because for me, I feel like I don't know everything about like the Chinese tradition, so it'll be nice for schools, like classes, I guess.
So, what do you think we can do to kind of make the younger generation more socially aware?
I mean, definitely taking like an Asian American class, like that definitely helped me a lot. I've taken a couple.
After hosting interviews and preparing a skit, we have come out of this experience with so much more knowledge on our themes. Our understanding has been broadened widely. We now understand that the older generations have a lot more deep-rooted customs and traditions from Asia than younger generations. Older generations were born in Asia or are first generation. They have memories of growing up in another country with different ideals and values. The younger generation who was born here has been molded by American media and society. Therefore, their knowledge of Asian culture and traditions is diluted by everything in this new country. The older generation has a strong want and belief that the younger generation stay culturally involved, but it is definitely an ongoing struggle. We can bring awareness to this issue by urging young generations to take ethnic studies, to take an interest in their family's traditions, and to most importantly, never forget where their ancestors came from and what their culture really represents.
Baby, baby, baby.